can't debate someone who thinks that Democrats are communists when they're actually largely corporatists. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so let's go there. So
in this one, we're going to have a look at a debate between Cenk Uygur and Lex Fridman, asking the question, is Kamala Harris a communist? Let's go ahead and just check it out.
So here's another example of definitional communism. Like they say, oh my God, Kamala Harris is a communist. Well, when you're telling on yourself, brothers and sisters, when you say that, that means A, I don't know what communism means, and B, I don't have any idea what's going on in American politics. Kamala Harris is a corporatist. That's her problem. Not that she's a communist. She's on the other end of the spectrum, right? The idea that Kamala Harris would come into office and say, that's it, there's no more private property. We're going to take all of your homes and it's now government property, all your cars, etc. She was not going to get within 1 billion miles of that. Her donors would never allow her to get within 1 billion miles of that. That is so preposterous that when you say something like that, it's disqualifying. Like, I can't debate someone who thinks that Democrats are communists when they're actually largely corporatists. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, so let's go there. So when people call her a communist, they're usually referring to certain kinds of policies. So do you think? I mean, I think it's a ridiculous label to assign to Kamala Harris, especially given the history of communism in the 20th century and what those economic and political policies have led to, the scale of suffering that led to. And it just degrades the meaning of the word, right? But to take that seriously, why is she not a communist? So you said she's not a communist because she's a corporatist. Okay, but that can't be. Okay, everybody in politics is a corporate. Almost everybody in politics is a corporate. But that doesn't mean the corporations have completely bought their mind. They have an influence on their mind on issues that matter to those corporations.
Yep.
Right? Like,
yep.
Outside of that, they're still thinking for the voters because they still have to win the votes.
Barely.
Okay.
So here, let me give you examples so you see what I'm saying. So if you just wanted votes, you would do a lot of what Tim Walz did, okay? And by the way, a lot of what Bernie did, that's why Bernie, who had no media coverage, went from like 2% in 2015 to by the end about 48%, because he was just doing things that were popular, right? And that American people wanted, et cetera, right? Because he's not controlled by corporations. By the way, neither is Tom Massey on the right-wing side, on the Republican side, right? So it's not all, that's why I always say almost all, right? So if you're doing things that are popular, people love it. So today, what would Kamala Harris do if she actually just wanted to win, right? So number one, she was trying to pass paid family leave right now. Why? It polls at 84%, and even 74% of Republicans want it. Why? Because it says, hey, when you have a baby, you should get 12 weeks off. Bond with your baby. Right now, in a lot of states that don't have paid family leave, you have to go back to work the very next day, or you have to use all of your sick days, all your vacation days, just to have 1 or 2 weeks with your baby, right? So conservatives love paid family leave. Liberals love paid family leave. That's why it polls so high. So why isn't she proposing it? It's not in our economic plan. Tim Walz already passed it in Minnesota. He showed how easy it was. If you want votes, and then you know what's going to happen if you propose paid family leave. The Republicans are going to go, no! Our beloved corporations don't want to spend another dollar on moms, right? And they fall for that trap. And then you're in an infinitely better shape. So why doesn't she do it? She doesn't do it because her corporate donors don't want her to do it. $15 minimum wage, layup. Over 2/3 of the country wants it because it not only gives you higher wages for minimum wage folks, but it pushes wages up for others. And what do the elites say? Oh, that's going to drive up inflation. Oh, you shouldn't get paid anymore. Wait, hold on. So you're saying all the other prices should go up, but the only thing that shouldn't go up is our wages? No, our wages should go up, okay? So these are all easy ones. Here's another one, anti-corruption. Why isn't she running on getting money out of politics? It polls at over 90%. Why isn't Trump running on it anymore? He won when he ran on it in 2016. He didn't mean a word of it, but he ran on it. It was smart. They don't do it because their corporate donors take their heads off if they do it.
So in contradiction to that, why did she propose to raise the corporate tax rate from 21% to 28%?
Because that's easy, because that is something that's super popular. and she's not going to do it. That's why. So guys, this is where I break the hearts of Blue MAGA. Blue MAGA thinks, oh my God, these Democrats, they're angels, and the right wingers and the Republicans are evil, and they work for big business, but not Kamala Harris, not Joe Biden, right? Okay, well, Donald Trump took the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%. So that's trillions of dollars that got transferred. Because guys, you got to understand, if the corporations don't pay it, we have to pay it, because we're running up these giant deficits, and eventually either they're going to, not eventually, they keep raising our taxes in different ways that you're not noticing. They keep increasing fees and fines and different ways for the government to collect money. So we're paying for it. And on top of that, eventually they're going to cut your Social Security and Medicare, because they're going to say, oh, we don't have any options left anymore. Yeah, you don't have any options left anymore because you kept giving trillions of dollars in tax cuts to corporations.
I completely disagree with Cenk Uygur right there. The reason why the government wants more and more is because they don't know how to spend properly. You know, it's real popular amongst the left and the Democrats to say, you know, make the billionaires pay their fair share. Well, why should the billionaires pay their fair share, using your words, when, in my opinion, they pay plenty? Why is it that you can't ask the government to spend more responsibly? How about balancing the budget for the first time in a decade, or maybe even longer? I can't remember the last time that the federal government actually was able to balance their budget. Every year, billions of dollars go unaccounted for, essentially. And, you know, Democrats like Cenk Uygur want to sit here and say, well, the reason why they want to tax more from you and we're going to have to pay the difference, is because billionaires get tax cuts. No, that's not how it works. Billionaires that don't get tax cuts, they take their businesses out of our country, and American citizens suffer because they don't even have jobs. And as the job pool, as the labor pool grows thinner, the Democrats at the same time are all about importing illegal immigrants into the country, giving them work visas, and then hiring them at cheaper wages, so that Americans that are trying to hold out for higher wages so that they can pay their bills or start a family or provide for their kids or whatever it is that they want to do that's in their pursuit of the American dream, basically gets cut off at the knees by the American government, by the Democrats that enable the American government, that never hold the government responsible or accountable to spend properly. Okay? It's infuriating to me that the Democrats think that Ukraine has to win this war, spare no expense, when they don't even know what Ukraine winning the war could even look like, right? They're not asking for the war to end. They just want Ukraine to win at all costs. And that makes no sense to me, especially when we have Americans suffering and Americans losing leverage to the Democrat government every single day. Eventually, yes, the government does take over and become a communist government, essentially out of necessity, which is a self-fulfilling prophecy to these people, and they don't even understand it. They sit there and call Trump a dictator, but they don't realize that they call for and vote for dictatorship daily. It's sad. It's a sad existence.
So we're going to have to pay for that. So then Biden says, oh my God, I'm going to bring corporate taxes back up to 28%. I'm like, wait, hold on. They were at 35. You already did a sleight of hand and said 28. Okay. Then he gets into office and Manchin says, no, 25. That's the highest I'll go. And he goes, okay, fine, 25. And then while you're not looking, they just dump it. They don't even do 25. It's still at 21. So hear me now, quote me later. I do predictions on the show all the time, because you should hold me accountable. You should hold all your pundits accountable. Yeah. If you held all your pundits accountable, we'd be the last man standing. And that's kind of what happened. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I guarantee you she will not increase corporate taxes.
So would the same be the case for price controls or the anti-price gouging that she's proposing?
So it's not price controls, it's price anti-price gouging.
It is price controls, but I mean, minimum wages price controls also.
Now we're going to get into a lot of minutia, but I'll try to keep it broad. So price controls are a disaster. They never work. If you say, oh, here's a banana, it has to stay at $1 a pound, make up a number, right? Well, supply and demand is going to move. And then and so the minute it moves to $2 where the price should be, then you're going to run into shortages. So we all know this. It's a bad idea, right? But are there laws against price gouging? There already are, and they're a good idea. So why? Like you have a natural disaster, all of a sudden the water that was $1, now they're charging $100. The government has to come in, democratic capitalism. They come in and go, no, I'm going to protect the people. So you're not allowed to price gouge. You know, maybe you charge $2, etc., but you're not going to charge $100. But it is temporary. We get that done. We end the problem there, and then we bring it back to a normal supply and demand. Okay, so that's what she's proposing. That's all political because the price gouging has already passed. They did it in 21 and 22, and so now the grocery stores are actually a low margin business. She says grocery stores. That's how I know she doesn't mean it, because the grocery stores weren't the problem. Consumer goods were the problem.
Yeah.
Those companies.
She's following the polls where most people will say that the groceries are too expensive. So
Yeah.
she's just basically saying the most popular thing. Yeah.
100%. And you could tell in which proposals she means it and which proposals she doesn't because of the framing, right? So this is a mediocre example, but in housing, she said, we have to stop private equity from buying houses in bulk. I'm like, curious that they put the word in bulk there. Why does it have to be in bulk? Why don't we just stop them from buying any residential home? Like, you could set up normal boundaries, right? For example, Charlie Kirk was on the Young Turks this week.
By the way, sorry to take that tangent. I really enjoyed that conversation. I really enjoyed that you talked to. That was like civil. You guys disagreed.
So basically, Cenk Uygur admits that Kamala Harris says all these things, but then he makes the excuse and tries to apply rational thought, which I don't even think he's capable of. So it's kind of funny to even say that. But then he goes, basically what he's doing is he's correcting Kamala Harris and saying, well, she might be saying this, but she's really not going to do it. And she doesn't have the capability of do it. And as a matter of fact, they've already made laws that you can't price gouge. Yeah, those laws have been on the books for a long time. You can't price gouge. And so with grocery stores operating at margins of 2% or less, the problem isn't the grocery stores. The problem is everything that leads up to that at that point. And to me, it starts with government over-regulating the production, essentially. You got to have so many licenses, certifications, inspections. You know, I'm all about quality control, but whenever you essentially use government authority to run a company's business cost up on the front end so high, they have no other choice but to pass it along to the consumer. And it's funny that Cenk is mentioning this, big corporations can't buy houses in bulk, which they're not really buying houses in bulk. That's funny because a lot of people on the right were complaining over the last couple years about how BlackRock was swooping up houses and basically turning the middle class into renters. And now he seems to agree with what we were saying. And all of a sudden it's a bad thing because they're just lying and they're trying to win an election for Kamala Harris. I got to say it right. The way that they taught us how to say it, Kamala. I don't know where this new Kamala thing came from, but regardless, Cenk Uygur is an expert at framing. He's an expert at being a pundit for his side, the Democrats, and that's pretty much where it ends, And Lex Fridman, I appreciate what he does. I don't watch his show a whole lot, but he seems to be pretty cool, calm, and collected, almost monotone and asleep sometimes, but he's also comes off as really intelligent, and I like the questions that he asked and his counterpoints here. So anyways, I'm going to wrap it up there. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.